just having a look at how these S2000 clocks fit up, AP1s. You can see I've got two different cowls, this one and this one. I think this is the, I don't know, normal one, shall we say, the one that goes on all the lower spec cars. I'm not sure, confirm that, but and this might be the CRX one, the more round one, but either way they both fit my CRX dash. It's the same step down the side there. But in terms of how these are going to fit, we have brackets here that held the original clocks in, and either side we have these tabs which the S2000 clocks can be held into, and it's almost that they're almost going to be held like that. So I need to kind of make some kind of little tab out of some metal I've got to hold the clocks in, and make it so this cowl still fits. It fits much better with this cowl, I think, the shape of them and everything, than that one. I pity is someone, not me. Let's put this little toggle switch on the front here. It's a bit annoying, but not the end of the world. So yeah, I'm going to see if I can make some kind of bracket that holds these in well. The only thing is that it will only be supporting the side at the bottom here rather than at the top, whereas you can see these brackets that were initially on there from the Honda for the S2000 must mount up at the top here, whereas I've got nothing really to screw into unless I screwed into the top of the cowl, but then you're going to see it from the top and that might look a bit terrible, so see what I do. Here we have the CRX dash, and you can see it's the nice one with the kind of velour look around the top. Anyway, more interesting is the fact I've got this S2000 AP1 cluster, and you can see I've mounted it in here by these little brackets, which gives me some nice flexibility to kind of position it where I want it, because they slide a bit. But you can use any kind of hardware you want to do this. But what you see is here is I've just used one screw in there, a nut and bolt, 10mm in the Honda world, I guess you want to call that, and this, which is just a screw, which is the same 10mm thread, and then nut on the back, and the same the other side, so I can position it how I want. I've still got these brackets on there for now, but I'm going to obviously remove them. Then I've got two options of cowl. This one, the kind of flat top one, and this one. I actually for some reason prefer the flat top one. I think I'm going to run that, and I've just about got enough space to run it, so I will do that. And I've got my shift light up there, glow shift light there, nice and cheap. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got all the pinouts for this and worked the whole thing out for my MC2 VTI Aerodeck wiring loom. So I'll show you all that. But the first thing you obviously have to do is check that it fits, check you can get a cowl on it. I've actually got a plate coming, a bevel plate I guess you'd call it, coming, which fits over across here. It's not the carbon one. I've got the ABS plastic one, just so if I need to cut it I can, and I probably will need to cut it. You can cut carbon, but you know, cutting plastic's going to be easier for me. And then the other thing I wanted to show you was that I'm going to be running more gauges. So here we have all my gauge selection. So what do I have? I have got the AEM air fuel or lambda gauge wideband. I've got oil pressure, can't quite see that, oil pressure, oil temperature, and I've got more voltage, water temperature, and what is this one again? Fuel pressure at the bottom here, and I've got another gauge holder. So how am I going to do that then, if I've just got this single DIN slot? Well, I've been spending money. Oh, I didn't mention this, K-tuned. This is the converter for the S2000 clocks, or gauges to go in. So this enables some of the sensors that need to be modified and stand to be corrected. So those are the vehicle speed sensor, so miles per hour or kilometers per hour, if that's what you're working in. Fuel level, which can be trimmed up, and it has a little brass screw on the back there, so that allows you to trim that up. And also, as far as I know, it is the temperature of the engine as well, so coolant temperature, or temperature actually of the engine. So that little box goes in line with the harness and alters the signals, so it means you can run the clocks and they'll all be correct. So I was showing you that. Anyway, back to this. So how am I going to run those 6 gauges? Spending money. Let's get out. Ooh. What's this? Yep, it's this. Doubled in. It's the new one. I could have found the actual JDM points rare as hell one, but it's going to cost like 300 quid for some snapped old bit of plastic. So instead, I'm going to run this one. It means I need to rob the lighter out of there, but I've actually got, because I'm a hoarder, I've actually got another one anyway. So always spares. So this is going to go in there, and hopefully I can mount 2 sets of those 3 gauge pods in here for my 6 gauge setup. A lot of people say it's excessive. It probably is, particularly as I've got the S2000 ECU, so you know, the Hondata S300, so you know, and it's the version 3 one, so I could just run that all on a tablet and maybe even mount a tablet in here, but I'm old school. I like tablet controls and all that stuff, but I also like gauges. So I'm going to stick all the gauges in this big pod there, and yeah, and then just above that, as you know, I've got my heater controls working, so they'll all work as normal. Anyway, first of all, I'm going to see if these 2 banks of pods go in there, and if they don't, I'm going to cry. Yeah, so it does all kind of go. I messed around with this other one to modify it to get into the original holder, so original single din, so I might buy another one of those just so it's a bit cleaner. But yeah, it all does go. The only issue I'm going to have is this it's a little bit wider than the others, so I can see if my other gauge is slimmer or not. I'll put the slimmest gauge there, or just modify the top of that just so it all fits. But yeah, I'm happy with that. I think it's going to look good. It's just probably undone this, so take that out of there, put it in my hoard, there we have it. Kind of what it's going to look like. It's good. Yep. It's nice to have all those gauges. It's a bit much, I know, but I haven't really seen anyone else do it, or I haven't seen any photos of it, so that's just going to be the way I roll. So yeah, S2000 clocks and 6 gauges. So just now I just need to figure out how I'm going to wire this all up. I'll do it in a neater way than I did in the past, because I'm not running a stereo. I was thinking I could basically just change this wiring and just have it switched on and have it on the stereo feed. So I might just do that in terms of the 12 volts. So probably do that. This is of lower priority, but as long as I can neaten up all the wiring and check and, you know, make sure I know all the cables go and stuff, I'm in quite a good position. Just for that full look, I've got the 6 gauges in there now. It does pretty much work. This one I've got here, which is made by Depot Racing. I think I don't know. Looks alright. The fuel gauge, just a bit thinner than the other ones. It's almost like I planned it, which I didn't. And there's a little gap. I don't know. I think that's going to look quite good. And I've got the S2000 clocks there as well. So yeah, that's going to be really nice. Saying to run the cigarette lighter, which I'm going to want to do, you need to undo it from here. So the way to do that is you just kind of undo this. It's got this top nut. You don't need to worry about the thing on the bottom. Yeah, that's out like that. And so obviously you want to feed that through there. Right, and then you can just topsy the whole thing out the front. Like that. Not going to do that one-handed. And then I need to get this little bit of plastic out as well, so it just picks out like that. And then I can mount it up in there. So I'm just going to use two hands and take that out. Okay, then we can just do the reverse. Basically just put this in here. Feed it all through. Mount that there. Like so. Oh, I should probably clean that little plastic first. Doesn't matter. And then put the nuts on, well, put this little collet thing on the back. And then put the, so the collet goes like behind there, like that. And then put the nut on with the open side facing out. So that's basically it. It'll look like that when it's done. And to show you again what it looks like that. But I've got two of these. ECRH on the back, and this one J. Does that mean JDM? Probably not. But that means that I could actually run this because it's got the light on the top. So that might be a bit more funky than do anything else. Also got the light in the ashtray thing. So I might run that. Not that I'm going to use the ashtray or smoke in the car or whatever, but you know, that looks a bit better. Maybe I'll use that. Just the same as before, remove this cigarette lighter bit from the one with J on the back of it, and going to just undo these two screws there and one at the back there to release the drawer part of it. And yeah, I've also released this little connector from the clip that's there, the clip hole that's there. So then that all gets a whole bit of metal out for the sliding ashtray. Out of here. And now I can just mount that into here. I'll do next. Who make this part have not put these two little indents in there on the back of here like that. So that's that done. So that's in. I have to say that you really have to file the back of that down a little bit to get even the first turn on there. So it's obviously something I've overlooked is the actual thickness of this bit of plastic in here. Putting this metal part of the ashtray in. So I'm going to do that next. I've actually taken the cleaner out of the two. They're both the same, so I'm going to put that next. So that's in. I can just put the ashtray in and the bit of wiring in. Did away with this bit of plastic because I needed that space here to mount this up. Put this all back. And then I've just got these little bulbs. I bet they're blown. Here we go. And I'll take the cap off. S14V 1.4 watt. See that bulb's knackered. So, order some more of those bulbs, and then I can put this back together. Anyway, there's 4 pins there, so I'll figure that out, and yeah, and then get a little connector, goes in there. I think it's the same one as the fuel one. I have to figure that out. But then I can have lights as well, so it'll be cool. Now about the wiring. So there's 4 plugs in the back of the S2000 cluster. I'll take them out and I'll show you a wiring diagram I've made which converts the S2000 AP1 cluster to the MC2 VTI cluster. Now there are three plugs in the back of here. Ignore this wire here, this is just because I blew this connection here, like I said before, so that can come out of there, do nothing. And yeah, so one's just for the SRS, and then there's two main plugs here. One of the first steps you need to do is analyse which wire needs to go where when you're changing from, say for example, these VTI clocks. Here, this is all from Honda. Find these on the internet, the full pinout of the gauges. And this is a guy called Mark Lamond, I guess, or marklamond.co.uk, and he's done all the pinouts for the AP1 Honda S2000 cluster. And you can see what I've done is go through and look at which connector I need to use on my MC2 VTI loom, basically. And these are the notes I've made. Quite a lot of them you don't need. Anyway, I'll put a neatened up version on this, but I'm going to use this as a guide myself. And yeah, they're going to just go ahead and wire one to one. So quite a lot of them quite obvious from the Honda diagram. Some of them are a bit more obscure, so I'm just going to do the main ones first and see how I get on. First you need to know which connector you're looking at. There's a green connector here, 14 pin, which is the A connector, and the first wire is the green and red, and that means that the primary colour is green and it's got a stripe of red on it. And then the other side of the diagram you've got blue and red, that's here, primary colour is blue, thin red stripe, and so on. So what you need to do is work out that you've got all the right wires and all the right colours as well, because if you don't, that's going to really confuse things. And I've noticed that I don't have some things on here, so I've got an extra wire here, which is strange. On the C connector, I haven't got this rear fog light relay output. It doesn't really matter. Haven't got the input either for it. Haven't got the cruise control, so obviously that must have been some kind of option. But even more weird is it doesn't have the immobiliser indicator. But that's okay, because I don't think it needs it to run the indicator. It just means that I won't have a light flashing up on the dashboard because there's just no pins in this connector. And the other thing is that the wires from the VTI dash, it's not like I can just plumb these in. These are much bigger terminals than the ones I have here. If you see that, that's a better view. So these are very small terminals. These are big terminals. So the next thing I need to do is cut these off. I'll cut them off with a little bit of slack, and then start connecting them all. So the VTI gauges have two connectors. There's a 12 pin and there's a 10 pin connector, and I'll put all the details of what each of these wires do. What I'm basically going to do is just connect the dots, and once I've done all that, I will show you the diagram of the final thing, and I'll tell you what works and what doesn't work and see if I can get around it. It's also important to mention this K-tuned dash converter, this 2000 dash converter. It comes with the device itself, this cable for USB interface with the PC, so you just set up once and you leave it pretty much. Also this brass connector I'm talking about in the back, and this is the cable that needs to go into the loom basically. We've got the power, which is this red one. We've got the earth, which is the black wire. First steps, cut off the old speedo connectors, and then strip back the wire with the wire strippers. I like those ones. And then put this heat shrink over each of the wires, and then tape it out the way, because what you don't want it to, one, you don't want to forget putting it over that, because obviously you're going to have to use some tape or something. It's not really ideal. And two, you don't want it slipping down or also being too close to where you're soldering, because then it'll get hot and it'll start shrinking down, and it'll become impossible to put it over the joint. So if you put them all over and take them out of the way, and just out of interest, I've done some in white, some in red, but obviously, do what you want, far enough out of the way so that it won't get all hot and start shrinking down. And then this is just the SRS connector. I'm not going to use that, so I'm just going to leave the plug on it for now. Right, and then I'll have to do, well, just the stripping back. I'll just do one per one, so it's easier. So I'm just going to get each of the wires, strip it back, solder it to it, put the heat shrink over it, and heat that up over it so it shrinks down, and just go through my whole list. This is the first wire I've done then. This is the yellow wire from the loom, solid yellow, and solid yellow from the S2000 loom, and you need to splice that in so that the red power wire on your adapter allows you to have power to tune the converter. So next we have black wire from the loom to a black wire in this little K-tuned adapter, and then a black wire on here, and so that's another one that's not just a wire-to-wire connection. This is the blue wire on the K-tune going to the S2000 side, which is the blue and white, and the white side going to the orange side on my harness. And so this is for the vehicle speed. That's done. So for the engine temp, we've got the orange wire from the K-tuned to the yellow and green in the S2000, and then we also have the grey wire going to the yellow and green, although to me it looks more turquoise, but that's me being picky. But on camera it doesn't, but in real life it looks more bluey turquoise. Right, now it doesn't matter which way you do these brown wires for the fuel, but one is going to the yellow and black on the S2000, and the other is going to yellow and blue on the VTI cluster, and then that's the whole thing connected up. That's done now. So now I can just get on with the one-to-one wires pretty much, connecting the rest of them. With the dash again, I'm taking the screws out here, which are Honda fitted from the factory in the S2000. Just these two little things, two little brackets that hold it. So take that one out, and that one. As well, and we bought a bezel. I'll get this one out. We bought this little bezel here. Now how well it's going to fit. That's why we need to be able to cut it. This is why I didn't buy the other one. Huh? There we go. Okay, that's not too bad. I just need to see how it's all going to fit up, so I may as well put these screws back in it. Should I cross-thread it? Okay, let's do these up. And then we got this. Let's see what kind of space I'm left with. I think it's an awful lot. So we need to line this up. This one. See? That's good, isn't it? The problem is it hides this bottom bit. Which bit? This bit. All the trip stuff.
You need that.
Well,
if you want that, you could just create the buttons and then you could just punch through them.
Or I could, the other thing I was thinking about doing was cutting this.
Oh no, don't do that. What is it? What are you missing out on? Which options? Why don't you talk through the options?
Well, I don't know what they are yet. So
push and cancel. Don't need that.
Yeah,
Trip. Don't need those. Just you don't need.
Well, look what about all these and
what is it? What is that? What are they?
Don't know yet, but I think we might need them. So with the aid of my diagram, which I'll show you up on the screen, the instructions for the K-tuned device and the Honda wiring diagram for the gauges, and basically just some simple tools, some snips, some wire strippers, a multimeter, some solder and a soldering iron and some heat shrink. I managed to finish this whole thing off. I'll put diagrams up, let me know if you've got any questions. These are the two connectors that were on the back of, there's actually three connectors because there's also one for the yellow one for the SRS as well. I just left that where it was. And there's two connectors, there's like the A connector, which is the larger one, and the B connector. And then all you've got to do, it's best to kind of keep these like that, then if all went horribly wrong, you'll probably solder it back on, but also then you know which one's which, because sometimes there's some wires that say they're a different colour to what they actually are, because especially the greens and the blues seem to go a weird colour. So it's just, I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, so just keep them there so you can reference that. And yeah, I managed to do it. And then I haven't completely tidied everything up, but this is kind of roughly what it looks like. So we've got this, which is connecting into here. So like that, it's the K-tuned. There you go, that's in there like that. And then these are going to go in the back of the S2000 dash. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some insulation there, or I might just put this on here. So just chuck this on here like that, and then I'll get the clocks, plug them in, and we'll see if it works. Here are the clocks, and just plug them in. A connector, B connector, C connector, and
D connector.
Well done, Andy. I have to just pull this tape off. This is the thing, once you start messing around with these, the bunching of the wires will become a bit different because you've had to drag it across.
Is that your wire tug?
This is not the wire tug, mate.
This is the wire tug. That's fryer tug.
Yeah, that's fryer tug.
Anyway,
I'm just going to...
your fryer tug.
I'm fryer tug. Where's that? I always lose something. There we go. So I'm just going to bunch it back here, just to make it kind of somewhat neat. Not that this is neat. Go on, Andy, you know when I say something. Okay, you don't?
No.
Good. Right, so this is here. This is plugged in. Everything is insulated pretty much, apart from these ones. I'm trying to...
Watch out.
Yeah, watch out. Okay. Right, so now if you connect the battery up. Right, and get the battery terminal on, mate.
What?
Back it down. Right, I'll do. Right, now point on the dash, Andy.
Shall I come? I'll come this way.
Okay, come.
Ooh. Ready? Yeah?
Check I'm not in gear.
Get me in gear. Starts every time. Oh, the battery's not dead, is it?
No, I think I know what it is. Might have been because I didn't connect this back up. We'll see.
What's that?
Oh, it's just the feed for all the electrics in the back. Idiot. There you go.
Let's have a look at. Let's have a look.
Okay, come on, let's do it.
Put it properly.
Right, let's do it for real.
Do it for real. That looks snazzy. That's part of the tuck. 1 sec. Oh. It looks nice though. red when it gets to the edge?
I can't find out because it's a bit too cold. But then the next thing you want to do is you want to look at what you've still got to connect. So I'm running out of fuel, but I actually am running out of fuel. This is low, that's good. This works, okay. Miles per hour, that won't go anywhere for now. So that's that. And so I've got EPS, I need to sort that one out. And I've got the boot is open.
Boot is open.
Okay, so try and shut the boot, Andy. Yeah, that's off, okay. So I've just got EPS. So then if I go to this, EPS.
What's EPS for?
Electric power steering. But
We took that off.
I grounded that, so that should be off. And then, yeah, no. We had hydraulic power steering. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Don't have electric power steering.
No, but the clocks that the car came out did.
Oh yeah, but it doesn't know that, does it? It doesn't know where it is.
No, but what I did do is I
It's basically like a head transplant.
yeah, if you can just pull off the battery again. So I've found out the problem. I had the EPS light on. It's because I grounded it. To be honest with you, in here it said, where was it? EPS. Ground equals off. Actually, ground I think equals on. So that's a little mistake I found on there. But there we go. So if
Not Lamond.
well, he's the one who did this whole thing to begin with. So you know,
Props to him.
props to him actually.
But he's got a mistake.
He's got one mistake. That's not connected. But that's okay. That's easy. The rest of it works. So now, let's just see.
Do a wheel spin.
Okay. Well, I want to see if the rest of this stuff works. It's fast because we've got them disconnected. So right indicator works. Left indicator works. That's interesting. Seems to dim them when I put the lights on.
That's normal.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, that might be normal.
Was it going to be the other way around?
No, I think that's right. Because when it's bright outside, you have it light, don't you? And when you're going in the night, you don't want it super bright. But anyway, that's quite cool. The boot's still open, which it is. High beam is that's that little light there. High beam's coming on. And then basically what I did do is and I think this is good because it depends on which car you're using, but what I did is I put all the ones I hadn't connected. So so we should go through and see if it works or not, and if it doesn't work we should do something about it. So the hazard indicator, well there was no actual wire in here. It says white red, but there was no actual wire in here. So I don't know if it's like internally grounded through the loom itself. So what I need to do is try the hazard switch and see if it works. Works.
Go with it.
So that's okay.
Would it not work if it was wrong?
Yeah,
It either works or it doesn't work.
Yeah, so that works. So I'm happy with that. And the next one is fuse 5. I hadn't connected that one. I don't know what fuse 5 is, so that's okay. The right door open, the left door open. I haven't done anything with that yet, but I know what to do. I've got these two the switches in here. All I need to do, because how it works, it just gets grounded and then the light comes on. So all I need to do is bypass a lot of this stuff and go straight to it. So I'm going to do that. So there's still door open interior output. So we should be able to use that to run this, because this doesn't work at the moment. We're kind of talking about small things at the moment. 12 volt battery for the memory. Well, what's interesting is when I have a look, is it's remembered the trip. So
That's the last trip it made.
Yeah, it's the last trip it made. But that would mean that it is remembering stuff for me. So, or maybe
You
not.
don't need that then, do you?
I don't know. I don't know how it works. No, it can't because it's been off the car. I don't know how that works or not. I think I might need to have 12 volts going to that the whole time. So I need to find a constant 12 volt supply for it. So that's one thing. So far we've only really got the doors open and the 12 volt supply, so that's quite easily remedied. And this ignition key switch input, I don't know what that really is. It might light up or flash or something to show I've got it on or not. I don't need that. That's it.
What's the light button below the dash there?
Oh, that just shows you've got the key in.
Okay.
That's for around where the key goes. I could even take that
Is there any
out.
sensor for the sunroof?
Sensor for the sunroof?
Yeah.
We haven't wired up the sunroof, mate.
Oh.
I think we lost the sunroof. I think we should get a bung for the sunroof.
Oh.
Okay. So yeah, all I've got to do now, really, that I can see, is connect up these two doors, and maybe think about a 12 volt constant supply. 12 volt constant supply for the dash memory. That's it. So pretty good result. So I'll get on with that, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. Right. So there's these little bulbs which I've got a pack of. And they are 12 volt 1.2 watt little bulbs like that, and they're always blown when you come to a car as old as this. And what you can do is take it out, pop it out like that.
Can you sense the old one's blown? It was blown.
It's black. Right. Chop that back in there. Yeah, like that. Right. And chuck it back in the hole. You could see what I was doing, that would help. But, yeah, chuck it back in the hole. And that's pretty much as simple as that. You just turn it, twist it in. So you can see that now is working. That's working, which is good when the lights are off. The lights are on, sorry. So I put that back in, and I'll do the same. So there's another one here. It's just down here. If you go the high view. There's one here as well. And then we've got two more that need to be done.
So this is a blown bulb and a good one.
Give me the good one. Choose it myself. Yeah. Something like that. And it works. And I've just got to shove it back up here. There you go. That's like that. Then you can't see it much now, but when it's dark, you'll be able to see that. And then I'm going to do the same to these ones. Come inside. Yep. So these are the ones in here, and like,
Blue ones.
well, they've got little covers on them, which I think must be a little 90s thing that happened. They're original. They're Honda. Honda did it.
Should we not keep it?
I'm keeping it. I'm going to put it on the new bulb. That bulb's blown.
Yeah. Is it a 90s thing?
Yeah. Must be. Oh,
Unless someone did it as a hopper.
No, because I found them online. You can buy them. It's a Honda part.
Oh.
It allows you to put this little
Sock on it.
looks like a condom, really. Yeah. Oh, it's a bit weird, isn't it? But there we go.
That was not on ours, though, was it?
It wasn't just on there, but that doesn't need it. Anyway, so that's on there like that. That's in there like that, and then that can go in this. You watching, Andy? Here, this is the little wiring loom detachment that comes out. Let's go out here. Basically, for the cigarette lighter and also the lights that go on the cigarette lighter or in the ashtray and around the cigarette lighter as well. This extra tape is just because just a bit of extra security, but I've heat shrunk it all there, as you can see. And what we have is two earths, which one the earth is for the cigarette lighter, one is for the bulbs. Then we have this one here, and this is for the power going to the bulbs, and this is the power going to the cigarette lighter. So then we can just here. And this is the original bit of loom, so I can just simply connect that there like that, and then put this background here where it was, and then that will just connect straight up to the wiring I've got in there, and that's it. So this is just a quick summary of all the wires I connected and didn't connect. So on the A connector, I didn't connect the yellow with blue and blue with red. All the others were connected. On the B connector, I didn't connect the white with red, the solid green, yeah, red with blue, sorry, red with yellow, black with white. On the C connector, I didn't connect black with white, red and white, white and black on the back row, white and black, and blue and black, and blue and orange. And on the D connector, I connected all of them. And I'm going to have a diagram which shows you all of the ones I did connect and how I connected them. But yeah, it all seems to be working. Now what I'm going to do is just tape them up so it's a bit neater than this, and clump it together, and probably cut off this one because I don't need this SRS connector anyway. Probably just cut that off, I don't know, maybe I'll just leave it. So yeah, I'm just going to tape that up and show you what it looks like. Finished thing, I just taped everything up. Could have cut this SRS thing off, I think I probably will do. But that's it. It's all neat and stuff. And now I can just continue with my job of trying to minimise some of this wiring. So I think I'm going to go over there and take all the wiring off that door. The finalised rear wiring install is the rear lights. And just continue on here, down there to the fuel pump, and onwards. Along here, I've stuck this little door open wire into there, that's alright, and that's it. One of the things you need to do, or at least you might need to do, is go on the K-Tune website and download this little exe, and that enables you to plug your device in to this little cable here, which is USB. So you can just plug that in, snap it in like that, plug in the device to USB. Look at the link here. Download the application. Opening it up. Then you can just read the device. Okay. And then we have the low frequency gear driven speed, VSS. This is a quick adjustment you can make depending on the wheel size. It's actually a really basic adjustment. If I just roll to the end, this is obviously all on the website. This quick formula here, so you have get your GPS speed, which would be quite accurate, it should be, divide that by the speed in the cluster, and then times that by 100, minus 100, and then that gives you a value. But either way, if you've got, it's based on, it says what it's based on. So it's based on 205 50 15 tyres. I'm running 195, which is obviously the width, 50, which is the aspect ratio, and 15 R15, which is 15 inch. So I don't have to do anything with mine, because mine's just the width is different, which doesn't affect the rolling radius. But obviously that's the formula you're going to have to go through to change things. Anyway, then we have the single wire B and D series sensor. That's what I'm using. I'm using the AP1 because it's the earlier type of S2000 gauge set. And then here you can also use a 2-wire K series sensor, but obviously I've got a K series engine in that car. And then you can make changes, with these edits and stuff. Write that to the device, or you can set it back to factory defaults, none of which I need to do. So the main thing is that it's all set up how I want it, which is good. So I'm just going to come out of that and then unplug it. And then you can see this is the little brass screw I was talking about before, just there. So what you can do there is you can just do that up or undo it, depending on how much fuel you've actually got in your tank. So probably the best thing to do would be to, I don't know, fill it right up to the top and then adjust it, something like that. And that is pretty much it. So it's worth saying this is just a brass screw on the end that's a variable resistor. So you can see that adjusting that screw either increases the resistance or reduces the resistance, and therefore you can fine tune how much fuel you've actually got in there, or how much it's actually displaying on your cluster.